The sun had barely risen when David rolled out of bed, rubbing his eyes and yawning. He had a long day ahead at work, and punctuality was something he prided himself on. His wife, Linda, was already in the kitchen, preparing breakfast as she always did. The aroma of fried eggs and freshly brewed coffee filled the air. "Good morning," David muttered as he entered the kitchen, adjusting his tie in front of the small mirror on the wall. "Morning," Linda responded flatly, her tone lacking warmth. David noticed her mood, but chose to ignore it. He grabbed a cup of coffee and took a sip before checking his watch. Just as he reached for a slice of bread, Linda turned to him, her expression cold. "You forgot to take out the trash last night," she said, her voice laced with irritation. David sighed, already sensing where this was going. "I was exhausted, Linda. I got home late and just wanted to rest." "That's always your excuse. You never help around here. You think because you go to work, that's all that matters." "Linda, not this morning, please. I don't have time for this," David snapped, his patience wearing thin. Linda scoffed. "Oh, of course. You don't have time for anything except work." The argument escalated quickly. Words flew back and forth, each cutting deeper than the last. Linda, frustrated, slammed a plate onto the counter, shattering it. That was the final straw for David. "I don't need this," he muttered angrily, grabbing his briefcase. "I'm leaving." Without touching his breakfast, he stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind him. Linda crossed her arms, fuming. She vowed to teach him a lesson when he returned that evening. David walked briskly down the quiet state road, still seething for the argument. He barely noticed the car speeding toward him until it was too late. The vehicle struck him with a sickening thud, sending him sprawling on the pavement. The impact left him with a smarting pain searing through his body. The driver, in a panic, didn't stop. The car sped off, leaving David bleeding on the deserted road. His vision blurred, and he struggled to move. Pain shot through his limbs, and warm blood trickled down his face. With great effort, he reached for his phone in his pocket. His fingers trembled as he dialed Linda's number. The phone rang. Once, twice, 5 times. No answer. He tried again. Still nothing. Gritting his teeth, David knew he had little time left before unconsciousness claimed him. With the last bit of strength he could muster, he scrolled through his contacts and called his old friend, Kelvin, who lived far away. "Kelvin," David gasped weakly when the call connected. "David, what's wrong?" Kelvin's voice was alert with concern. I was hit, bleeding. Need help. Near Maple Estate. Stay put. I'm coming," Kelvin said, his voice filled with urgency. David could barely hold onto the phone as the darkness threatened to consume him. He lay there, motionless, waiting for his friend. Meanwhile, Linda was pacing the living room, planning her revenge. She had convinced herself that David needed to learn a lesson for walking out on her that morning. She imagined the words she would hurl at him the moment he stepped through the door. Hours passed, and her anger slowly turned into impatience. Checking the time, she frowned. He was never this late. She picked up her phone and called him. It went straight to voicemail. She tried again. Still nothing. Now, concern crept into her chest. She dialed his office. "Hello, this is Linda, David's wife. Is he still there?" There was a brief silence before the response came. David never showed up to work today. A chill ran down her spine. Her hands trembled as she tried calling again. The phone remained off. Fear gripped her heart. Something was wrong. She dashed out of the house and began looking everywhere for her husband. She went to his office, his church, his family house, everywhere, but with no success. As midnight approached, fear of the unknown overwhelmed her. Tears streamed down her face as she realized something terrible might have happened. Finally, her phone rang. It was Kelvin. "Linda, I found David. We're at St. Mary's Hospital. Come quickly." Her heart pounded as she grabbed her car keys and sped to the hospital. When she arrived, she found David lying on a hospital bed, bandaged and weak, but alive. Relief washed over her as she ran to his side, tears falling freely. "David, I'm so sorry," she sobbed, clutching his hand. "I should have picked up. I should have never let my anger take over." David gave a weak smile and squeezed her hand gently. "I'm sorry too. We can't keep fighting over little things." Linda nodded, wiping her tears. "Never again. We'll talk things out. No more anger." They held each other tightly, realizing how precious their love was. The near tragedy had taught them a lesson. They would never forget anger should never be allowed to control their hearts again.